Well, Donald Trump is also freezing US overseas aid, raising questions about the future of assistance programs around the world. America has until now been the biggest single international donor.
The US Government Agency for International Development, or USAID, helps millions across the world. From vital food supplies in Zimbabwe and Chad to emergency disaster responses in Haiti or life-saving medical equipment in Ukraine. USAID is the world's largest humanitarian aid provider. Now its future hangs in the balance with Donald Trump's proclaimed America First policy.
It's been run by a bunch of radical lunatics, and we're getting them out. USAID, run by radical lunatics, and we're getting them out, and then we'll make a decision.
Set up in 1961, USAID is funded by the US government and had a budget of around $40 billion in 2023, less than 1% of the total federal budget. It's responsible for aid and development in strategically important countries, or those in conflict, and works in around 120 nations, funding a range of initiatives from field hospitals to contraceptives, HIV/AIDS treatment, clearing landmines, energy security, fighting malnutrition, and giving people access to clean water. In 2023, most of its funding went to Ukraine, then Ethiopia, Jordan, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and Somalia. Trump paused all foreign aid for 90 days when he took office, and some USAID programs have already been forced to close their doors, like this healthcare centre supporting transgender people in South Africa.
I've been coming to this clinic for years now. I think it's been 8 years or something that I've been under their care. And now with Trump's ridiculous policies, that is all going to change. That is why I came here today, because they're closing for the next 90 days.
The funding freeze has sent shockwaves through some of the most vulnerable populations, leaving the future of millions of people in doubt.
Let's examine this with Abby Maxman. She's president and CEO of the aid organisation Oxfam America and joins us from Montreal. Welcome to DW. How big a gap does this freezing of US international aid leave?
It is a massive gap that is actually a cruel political power play by President Trump and the administration. It undermines human development, human security, human rights in countries all around the world. Even though this represents just under 1% of the United States budget, U.S. foreign assistance supports 42% of the global humanitarian and development architecture, and it's having far-reaching, serious, life-threatening consequences as we speak.
Serious, far-reaching, life-threatening consequences. Explain why. Those are dramatic terms.
They are dramatic because USAID humanitarian assistance supports life-saving activities in Ethiopia, in the Democratic Republic of Congo, in places that have the needs for clean water, kids who have access to medication and sanitation. This is all life-saving work that USAID has supported around the world for decades. And our partners and communities around the world are relying on these services. When those efforts stop, and when those, right now, the disruption and upheaval that has been created by the confusion and for the abrupt stop work orders, really cuts off access to basic things like food, water, sanitation for children, women, families in poor countries around the world.
And you describe this as a cruel political power play. Again, strong words. In order to achieve, why do you think that the American president has done this?
Well, it feels like there's intentional misleading about what is happening and the role of the U.S. Agency for International Development and the partners it supports around the world. Oxfam does not rely on U.S. government funding for its work, but our partners do. And we know that the system and the work that's ongoing every single day has impact on people's lives, livelihoods, on communities, on people making choices about who eats, who doesn't in a family, who will survive and who won't. And when you talk about humanitarian life-saving assistance, this feels like it has been short-sighted. It has happened without thought, without care, without warning, and it has been upending of an entire system that has worked productively for people's rights and human rights and
Here's the
human
thing.
dignity.
OK. Except that we know that most rich countries use aid to project power and influence. So isn't it sensible that from time to time they review whether the money they're spending aligns with their national interests?
We totally support thoughtful review and reform of any sector. And to do that, the suspension of everything all at once without warning causes immediate harm. It's like turning off a spigot. And that's a literal visual as well. For communities that are relying on clean water and sanitation, for people who rely on food and where their next meal comes from, this has very serious implications. There could be thoughtful, intentional review processes, and we have seen no sign of that.
Right. So just so I'm clear, as far as you're concerned, you support the president's you support the fact that the president can do this. You object to the way it has been done.
Well, any administration has the ability to review how aid flows in a thoughtful, productive way. USAID has been historically a bipartisan supported administration that is authorized by Congress to fulfill its responsibilities. What we have seen and witnessed is a combination of Donald Trump and Elon Musk, who is not an elected official, making determinations without warning and without advanced planning to enable a thoughtful, intentional set of actions and reviews, and that cuts off aid and disables the community and partners around the world to be able to fulfill their responsibilities.
Thanks for outlining that so clearly for us. Abby Maxman from Oxfam America. Thank you.
Thank you.